Hey there, explorers! Welcome back to our channel, where we delve deep into the teachings and principles of Christianity and embark on a transformative journey through the realms of faith and spirituality. Today, we're delving deep into a topic that's always got people wondering and pondering: what exactly does God look like according to the Bible? Yep, you heard it right. We're about to embark on a journey through the sacred scriptures to unravel the mysteries surrounding the appearance of the divine. So grab your seats and let's dive headfirst into this fascinating exploration of the visual representations of God in the Bible. Many people wonder about what God looks like if they believe in Him. They know God is invisible and hard to understand, but the Bible has some clues. It shares stories of people who had special moments with God. Sometimes they saw Him in dreams or felt His presence strongly. These stories help us think about what God might be like, even though we can't see Him with our eyes. In the Bible, there are stories of prophets like Moses and Isaiah who had extraordinary encounters with God. Moses, for example, saw God in a burning bush and heard His voice giving him instructions. Isaiah had a vision of God sitting on a throne, surrounded by angels singing praises. These stories give us glimpses into the majesty and power of God, although they don't fully reveal His appearance. For Christians, Jesus is believed to be the Son of God, and through Him, they understand more about God's nature. Jesus taught about God's love, compassion, and forgiveness through His actions and words. He showed people how to live a good and righteous life, and many believe that by following Jesus, they can understand God better. Although many people have different ideas and interpretations about what God looks like, most agree that He is a loving and compassionate being who cares for His creation. They believe that God is not limited to a physical form, but exists beyond our comprehension. So while we may never fully understand what God looks like, we can still feel His presence and guidance in our lives through faith and prayer. Once upon a time, there existed a figure known as Moses, whose narrative is recounted with significance. Within the pages of the Bible, there are passages detailing intimate conversations between God and Moses, evoking an image of close companions engaged in dialogue. However, a crucial aspect emerges wherein Moses, despite these profound exchanges, finds himself limited in his perception of God's entirety. God conveys to Moses, in essence, that the full extent of His being is beyond mortal comprehension, stating, "You cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live." Consider, then, the scene. Moses, in earnest conversation with God, expresses a desire to behold His countenance. Yet, God cautions Moses against this request, likening the experience to gazing directly at the sun, intensified to an incomprehensible degree. Undeterred, Moses persists, seeking even a fleeting glimpse. Nevertheless, God reiterates the impossibility of such an endeavor, emphasizing the overwhelming nature of His divine presence. Despite Moses' persistent entreaties, God maintains His stance, affirming the impossibility of the request. In a concession, God permits Moses to witness His passing glory, albeit only from behind. Even this limited revelation leaves Moses in a state of profound awe, comparable to witnessing the most breathtaking of natural phenomena, yet magnified immeasurably. And that's the story of how Moses, despite being tight with God, couldn't quite handle seeing all of God's glory face to face. It's a reminder that sometimes there are things beyond our understanding, even in the closest of relationships. Even though we can't fully see God, the Bible uses symbols and pictures to help us understand Him better. It says God made people to be like Him, Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 27, which suggests that we have something of God in us. This means there's a connection between us and God, even though we can't see Him with our eyes. It's like how you can't see the wind, but you can feel it blowing on your face. Think of it like looking at a painting. When you look closely, you might notice small details that reflect the artist's style or personality. In the same way, when we look at ourselves and others, we can see glimpses of God's character shining through. Maybe it's in the way we show kindness to others, or the love we have for our family and friends. These are like brushstrokes of God's love and goodness in our lives. Even though we're not exactly like God, we're made to reflect His image in the world. It's like how a mirror reflects what's in front of it, showing an image that's similar but not exactly the same. We're like mirrors reflecting God's love and goodness to those around us. When we act with love and kindness, we're showing others a glimpse of who God is and how much He cares for them. This idea helps us understand our connection to God and how we're meant to reflect His goodness in the world. It's like being part of a big family where we all have different roles to play, but we're all connected by our love for each other and for God. So even though we can't see God directly, we can see His reflection in the world around us and in the people we meet every day. As believers, we see God as similar to a person who can do things just like we do: talk, walk, and be part of the world around us. The Bible describes God having hands, feet, and other human-like qualities to make it easier for us to understand how He interacts with the world and how He influences our lives. When we read about God in the Bible, it's like reading about someone who is a bit like us but much more powerful and wise. We imagine Him being able to do things we can do, but in bigger and more amazing ways. This idea of God having human-like characteristics helps us feel closer to Him and understand His actions better. For example, when we hear about God reaching out His hand to help someone in need, we can picture it in our minds just like when a friend extends their hand to offer assistance. It's a way for us to grasp the concept of God's care and involvement in our lives in a more relatable manner. However, it's important to remember that these descriptions in the Bible are symbolic. They're not meant to be taken literally as if God has a physical body like ours. Instead, they serve as metaphors to help us understand God's nature and His relationship with us. Just as a parent might use simple language or stories to explain complex ideas to a child, the Bible uses these human-like descriptions of God to convey His characteristics and actions in a way that we can comprehend. In essence, thinking of God in human terms helps us connect with Him on a personal level. It allows us to relate to Him in our everyday lives and understand His love, compassion, and guidance in a way that resonates with our own experiences and emotions. So, while we may imagine God with hands and feet, we understand that these are symbolic representations of His presence and involvement in our lives, guiding us with His divine wisdom and grace. Is it truly important for us to figure out what God looks like? The Bible does provide us with some hints, but the essence of our faith lies not in visualizing God's appearance, but in the way we interact with Him. Our bond with God is rooted in our hearts and spirits rather than attempting to visualize His form. When we ponder the nature of God, it's not about picturing a physical image, but rather about understanding His love, compassion, and omnipresence. We can't capture the vastness of God's being in a single image or description. Our connection with God transcends the limitations of our human perception. In our journey of faith, what matters most is how we express our love and devotion to God, not how accurately we imagine His physical features. Our relationship with God is built on trust, gratitude, and humility, rather than on trying to visualize His appearance. Moreover, focusing too much on what God looks like can distract us from the deeper spiritual truths that lie at the core of our faith. It's easy to get caught up in superficial aspects and lose sight of profound mysteries of divine presence and guidance in our lives. Ultimately, whether we can visualize God's appearance or not is secondary to the profound sense of connection and reverence we feel towards the divine. Our faith is nurtured through prayer, reflection, and acts of kindness, not through trying to paint a picture of God in our minds. It's the depth of our spiritual understanding and the sincerity of our devotion that truly matter in our relationship with the divine. As we ponder the question of what God looks like, it's important to recognize that our faith is built on things that are mysterious and awe-inspiring. When we try to understand God, we're exploring something that's beyond our understanding. Our beliefs are rooted in a sense of wonder that goes beyond simple explanations. When we think about God's appearance, we're often drawn to images or ideas that we've been taught or that we've imagined. But it's crucial to remember that these images are just symbols or representations. They help us connect with the idea of God, but they don't capture the fullness of who or what God truly is. As we delve into the nature of God, it's natural to want to grasp His essence fully. However, we must humbly accept that God's essence is beyond our grasp. Our human minds are limited, and there are aspects of God that will always be beyond our comprehension. This doesn't mean we shouldn't seek to understand God better, but rather that we should approach our exploration with humility and reverence. In our quest to understand God, we may encounter moments of confusion or uncertainty. This is part of the journey of faith. We're called to trust in the mystery of God, even when we don't have all the answers. Our faith is not about having everything figured out. It's about trusting in something greater than ourselves, even when we can't fully understand it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content like this and sharing it with fellow Christians seeking a mindful connection with God. Don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video helpful, and feel free to leave a comment below to share your thoughts with us. While we may never fully grasp the depth of God's appearance, we can find solace and inspiration in the knowledge that we are created in His image and likeness. Stay blessed and see you next time.